Karunaratne. We had Justice Chris Veeramantri, who was part of the International World Court of Justice in The Hague. And then we also have people who are lecturers of the faculties, of law faculties, and so on and so forth. We have Father Noel Das from the law faculty of Colombo. And then we have Sulochana Ranganathan. Mrs. Sulochana Ranganathan was the director of the Jaffna Public Library when it was burned down at that time. Mr. Puloka Singham was also in the Peace Secretariat when he was active. He was a very involved member there. So as you can see, these are people who know the issues, who are very concerned about the issues, and are encouraged that young people want to do something about it. And so we are so honored to have them, and they continue to refine our thoughts. It's our thoughts, but they refine it, and they help us make those into reality.
Yes, Prashant, and also now like a movement like Sri Lanka Unite, is it a totally voluntary movement, and how is the movement funded? Like for example, Ramzi mentioned to us that there are these FLCs, the Future Leader Conferences, and there are trips to the schools, but we would also like to find out how this Sri Lanka Youth Movement, Unite movement is sustained.
Yes, I think that's a very good question. Basically, when you talk about, I think the biggest strength we have is that we are a volunteer movement. None of us are paid. We all have our professions, but we decided as this generation, we need to make certain sacrifices to make sure that Sri Lanka will never ever go back to hatred or violence again. We can't allow that. So all of us have, are convicted by that. All of us have come together and we're working for that. Now, obviously, when you do big events like this, funding becomes an issue. Especially last year when we did one of these conferences, there was a recession going on, and financially it was not the greatest time to go to corporate clients. However, we had many corporate clients who saw the need for it, and they sponsored kids, they sponsored souvenirs. And on top of that, we had, Ramzi will tell you more about this, but we had this reconciliation band, and 15 cities around the world, Sri Lankans that we met online. We have over 5,000 members online who are committed to creating awareness about Sri Lankan youth and giving them opportunities. And so they raised money, and that's where we got a huge percentage of our finances, is young people around the world. In fact, one of the reasons I'm not able to be there is I was just had a conference call with some of our fan clubs in Orlando.
Right, Prashant. So thank you so much for that information, and thank you for joining us even though you could not make it to the discussion. So we will continue with Ramzi, the next section. So Ramzi, starting from where Prashant left off, he was talking about students overseas, students in other countries raising funds for the Sri Lanka Youth Movement. Can you elaborate on this experience?
This is actually the band we are promoting. This is the Sri Lanka Unites band. We actually ask university students overseas to help us to raise money for whatever projects we have. And we actually managed to find 2/3 of the funding for the projects through this band.
That is selling this band in Sri Lanka and
no, overseas. We didn't actually sell in Sri Lanka, but we made sure that it's been sent to overseas students. Contacts we have, it could be UK, Australia, New Zealand, America, Dubai, and places like that. We asked them to promote this to get us something.
The reason why I also asked you this question, Ramzi, is because that when it is a student youth movement and if it is voluntary, the question as to how the funds are channeled can be a main question, and also that will also have links to the neutrality of the particular movement, because one can always think about, if when you are talking about causes like reconciliation, whether it is politically motivated, whether there's any political stance to the entire movement. What is your opinion about that, Ramzi?
Basically, it's a very politically neutral movement, because we invited for the Future Leaders Conference the Minister of Education at that time. He was invited, and basically we don't want any political agendas involved in this movement, because the when we have political movements inside this organization, it gives out a different picture to the people who wants to come in and give a helping hand. They always have a different opinion. So we thought that we would not entertain any political agendas. It's true that we invited several political figures, but it doesn't mean that we are politically active.
Right, and also Ramzi, about the Future Leader Conference, what was the follow-up activity? Now you said it was actually a conference where many students participated, but how are you taking it from there, from last year?
Yeah. Basically, like I said, we go into the schools, and that's the initial action after the conference. But this year we managed to launch a documentary that it's basically consists of the whole Future Leaders Conference and how we managed to do it, and what was the result and all that. And unfortunately I couldn't get it for you to have a small view of it, but I actually have the pictorial report that helps us to see what we are talking of.
Yes, you can focus it to the camera. Yeah, so this contains the activities you have been doing from the time of the Future Leaders Conference, which was the first event, isn't it?
It was the first thing.
So what are these about? It's about all the activities that you all undertook?
Not exactly. It's how we started as a movement, and then how we went to do the Future Leaders Conference, and what were the results, and how we managed to influence students to bring a change to society. I mean, to change their mindset on people.
So when you say student, what was the students' reaction when you say you managed to influence the students? Can you elaborate on how the students reacted? That is, what was their response to the conference per se, and then how are they involved with the Sri Lanka Unites committee?
Basically, when it at the conference, it was, I mean, amazing that people would actually, we achieved 200% whatever we wanted to achieve, because for an example, Jaffna students had to go like 12 hours early, like it was not 12 hours, 6 hours to 7 hours early, because they had to find a bus to go. So we saw to our, I mean, we couldn't actually imagine that happening, because we never thought it would happen, because all the students from the southern coast of the island and the west coast of the island, they actually helped. I mean, they took the Jaffna students' bags to the bus, and they were crying. I mean, they were like, they were bonded more than, I mean, we thought they'll be, basically. And that's an example I want to tell you. But when it comes to the response, we had this session where we asked them to come forward and apologize for whatever they have done. In the sense, it could have been their parents, it could have been their older generation. We asked them to come forward and ask for forgiveness, so that they can start fresh when it comes to building the society. So that's the start we wanted to have.
So are these the moments that the documentary you said that was recently launched captured?
Yeah.
When was this launched?
It was launched last week. we